The story kicks off with Jintoki running for his life, chased by a bunch of sword-wielding samurai. The narrator proudly calls him the hero of this story right as Jintoki chickens out and leaps over a wall, claiming he needs to catch a TV show at 4 p.m. On the other side, he bumps into Shinpachi, who's also being chased. The two run around like cartoon characters until they end up on a modern road, nearly getting flattened by a flying car. The samurai are hot on their heels, but before things get ugly, Kagura shows up riding Sadaharu, her giant dog, and accidentally sends the attackers flying. The trio keeps running around town, strategically letting themselves get cornered. When asked who they are, they dramatically introduce themselves as the Yorozuya. Right then, a cat strolls between the two sides. Shinpachi realizes it's Kuromi-chan, the missing pet they were hired to find. All three instantly forget the fight and chase after the cat completely ignoring their confused enemies. Jintoki promptly gets hit by a truck. Shinpachi then gives us a crash course on the land of the samurai, explaining how aliens the Yamato took over Edo. He mentions it's been a year since he started working for Jintoki, and he still hasn't been paid. Tough luck. Meanwhile, elsewhere in town, an alien named Kariya-san and a Ronin are making shady deals with a couple of humans. That's when we meet Yamazaki and the Shinsengumi, and things are about to get even crazier. Hijikata stumbles onto a shady plot involving a dangerous machine. But before we get too serious, the scene flips to the Yorozuya. Jintoki is lounging around reading Jump, knowing he should quit, but like any true addict, just can't put it down. Kagura munches away while half-heartedly telling him to stop. Sadaharu, meanwhile, naps like a champ. Shinpachi bursts in with some bad news: they're totally broke. Before they can panic, an earthquake shakes the place. Then, the doorbell rings. Shockingly, it's an actual customer. The bald man introduces himself as Katu-ken. He explains how his life went downhill a month ago, lost his job, his house, and his family, but he conveniently stops right before getting to the juicy part. Instead, he promises to spill the rest if they help him scrounge up some money. The gang scrambles for quick cash. First stop, Ados and Catherine. Their bright idea? Selling one of Katu's organs, but unsurprisingly, no sane buyer steps up. So it's back to Ados's snack bar. Sa-chan literally drops from the ceiling to join the quest. Out on the street, Katu bumps into two shady guys, the same ones from Kariya-san's deal earlier. They bully him a bit and almost blurt out something important before bailing. Sa-chan, Kagura, and Shinpachi are ready to go full assassin mode. But Jintoki is already yawning from boredom. Instead of getting mad, Katu changes his mind. He doesn't want money anymore, he wants strength. Jintoki agrees to train him, by basically ditching him. Meanwhile, at the Shinsengumi, Hijikata shows Kondo the blueprints for some crazy Yamato machine. Back with Jintoki, he's tailing the two shady guys and ends up at the Yamato embassy, where he runs into Katsura and Elizabeth just hanging out. As Jintoki is about to leave, he runs into a samurai named Ronin. On the flip side, Kagura, Shinpachi, and Sa-chan try their best to toughen up Katu. But in true Yorozuya fashion, he quits and leaves them in the dust. Meanwhile, Jintoki is locked in a fight with the Ronin, but in classic Jintoki fashion, he ends up slipping away. As the sun sets, Sa-chan, Kagura, and Shinpachi sit by the river, still a little bummed. Jintoki shows up, hears Katu quit, and immediately leaves again. Later, Shinpachi heads home with Kagura, grumbling about how Jintoki didn't even try to stop Katu. His sister, Adi, though, has more faith. She tells him, "If you don't believe in Jin-san, who will?" Very touching. Until Kondo pops out from under the table like a creeper. Unlike Adi, Kondo doesn't trust Jintoki, claiming he's got dead fish eyes. Charming. Adi, of course, beats Kondo senseless for stalking her just another day at the Shinpachi household. Meanwhile, Shinpachi wonders where Jintoki ran off to. Turns out, Jintoki found Katu sulking at Pub Hikoken. Katu finally spills everything. He was fired from his fancy job for no reason. His so-called friend stole his official seal and used it to steal his house, and all the stress drove his wife and daughter away. Katu also reveals something he didn't tell anyone a week ago. He got a letter from his daughter saying she wanted to come home. That gave him the push to start fighting for his life again. Hearing this, Gintoki casually promises to help him steal back the contract, but immediately starts throwing up from drinking too much, suggesting they postpone the break-in until tomorrow. Another earthquake rumbles in the background because, of course, things aren't chaotic enough already. They regroup the next morning and head straight for the Yamato embassy. Gintoki doesn't bother with subtlety. He literally drop-kicks the gate off its hinges. Inside, the place looks deserted, except for a mouth-watering buffet. Gintoki, Kagura, and Sadaharu immediately fall victim to the free food trap. Before they know it, all 5 of them plus the buffet get locked inside a cage by the Ronin, Kariya-san, and the 2 shady guys. During a short and very smug conversation, the bad guys realize the Yorozuya are only here to grab a contract not exactly threatening. Laughing it up, they tell Katu he won't have to worry about his house much longer, because they'll all be squashed into pancakes soon. Then they stroll off, all evil grins and swagger. Meanwhile, Yamazaki is badly camouflaged in the bushes outside. While they're still trapped, Katsura suddenly shows up to spill the real tea. Those guys aren't just thieves, they're trying to destroy all of Edo. They've rigged the fault line under the city to trigger a massive earthquake. Kagura, fed up, snaps the cage bars like twigs, and the squad bolts straight to Katu's house. That's when Gintoki reveals the kicker Katu's house sits right on the fault zone. That's why all his bad luck started. At the house, the Shinsengumi are already there, itching for a fight. They know the plan, but there's a catch: the house is now officially Amanto territory, so by law, the Shinsengumi can't even set foot inside. Cue the Yorozuya smashing through the door like action heroes. "We're the real heroes," they yell, as they start beating the tar out of the guards. The Ronin challenges Gintoki to a rematch to buy time while the others fire up the earthquake machine. Katu tries to stop Kariya but gets faced with a full-blown lightsaber against his tiny wooden sword. Gintoki tries to pump him up. "You gotta change yourself first or nothing changes at all." Inspired by memories of his family, Katu charges Kariya like a man possessed, trips spectacularly, and accidentally knocks Kariya out cold. Victory through clumsiness. Katu tries to stop the earthquake machine, but instead accidentally speeds it up, leaving them only 25 seconds before doomsday. To make things worse, he snaps the lever that could have shut it down. Nice. Gintoki immediately springs into action. He casually steps over the Ronin, knocks him out mid-stride, then dashes toward the machine at insane speed. With one epic leap, he drives his wooden sword straight into the machine's red core, smashing half of it to pieces. The bad guys are presumably rounded up, but in true Yorozuya fashion, Katu's house is totaled during the chaos. Gintoki, ever the optimist, asks him, "You've changed, haven't you?" Katu answers with a proud, "Yes." Of course, the touching moment is immediately ruined when Kuromi-chan, the cat they were supposed to find ages ago, casually strolls by and the entire Yorozuya squad scrambles to chase her again. Back at the Yorozuya house, life returns to normal. Gintoki's back to reading Jump, Sadaharu's snoozing, and Kagura's happily munching away. They watch TV and see Katu performing as a famous singer. The trio smiles proudly while watching their old client shine. On the table behind them sits a heartfelt letter from Katu, thanking them and sharing that he's bought a brand new house for his family. Thanks for watching. Subscribe for more bonkers episodes.